Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United transfer news this Saturday night as Ruben Amorim receives a warning in relation to Baleba. It really is now or never. Has Donnarumma liked a Manchester United post on Instagram and removed it? And could he be our goalkeeper this summer? Arsenal are in scintillating form, beating, I think it was Athletic Bilbao, or was it Athletic Madrid? I don't know. 3-0, they looked very good. We play them next week. Do we look really good? Are we ready? Even with good signings, are we ready? We'll talk about that as well. Also, Man United looking to raise £100 million before the end of the transfer window. I think we'd be more chance of putting it on red and going playing bloody roulette. Lots to get into on the show tonight. And of course, it's an 8 o'clock show, so it's driven by you. Lots to go into on the show tonight. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Make sure you smash a like and get your thoughts in. Right, we're going to start off about Baleba. So just a little, I prefer the conversation. I want to talk about what you think. I want to talk about what you're thinking about the season. I want to talk about, things like that and be led by that. But we always hit the topical stuff at the start of the show. And I think a couple of things caught my eye today after the match in relation to what our transfer activity might be towards the end of this transfer window. And The Athletic saying this, it's MJ Critchley through The Athletic. It's a deal on Baleba. It's a deal a lot of Premier League clubs would like to do. He's one of the highest rated holding midfielders in the league. I mean, I disagree with that straight away. I don't think he's a holding midfielder, but, we'll let it go. And in European football, if United do it, you're talking more than £100 million. Caicedo money is certainly a benchmark set by Brighton in the past, and you're looking at similar parameters to that. United have explored those parameters this week, and a sort of thinking is there going to be a market for him next summer. So if we can get ahead of the curve, if we can do it now and steal a march on clubs, that'll be in for him then that's a feather in United's cap and helps them going forward. I think it's an unrealistic, unlikely deal due to the numbers being talked about. So that's quite a significant update, isn't it? That they're saying, or this particular journalist with The Athletic is saying that it's an unrealistic, an unlikely deal due to the numbers being spoken about. And I think that, that I don't want to put a downer on it. In fact, I'm not going to put a downer on it because, I don't know whether you've seen the news. Rodri's out till the middle of September for Man City. Kovacic is out until October. So Man City's midfield is looking very thin. And it's so competitive in the top four race. I wouldn't be surprised if Man City entered the race. And I wouldn't be surprised if they entered the race for Baleba. And I think that I remain calm on this. I don't know what I'd like to get some of your thoughts on this. What do you actually think is going on with Baleba? Because my general consensus, my general opinion is that we've created this story. I mean, not me, not you. I mean, Manchester United have created this story. And if you're going to start a fire, you better, you better keep building it. Like, you've lit a match and now you better put some fuel on the fire because we can't just let it go out. It can't be the spin story of, let's just throw a story in there to excite the fan base and do nothing about it. Nobody was really talking about Baleba in the sense that we thought we could do it. Yeah, we were all saying Baleba's a good player and he'd be brilliant for Man United, but no one was expecting it until the Ornstein drop. So United have to have more than that. It can't be, we approached Baleba, but he was too expensive. Sorry. Well, we all knew that. You shouldn't have bloody approached him then. You don't need to pick up a phone to Brighton to find out he's going to cost 100 million. So if you've picked up the phone, I genuinely do not think it's spin. I genuinely do think there is an end game for Manchester United. So I think something will happen with it because I think we've opened the door that we didn't need to open. It's like a lion in a cage, isn't it? And it says, don't feed the lions, don't open the cage. And then you open the cage and the lion comes out and you better have a bloody big stun gun, otherwise you're going to get ate. And you can't open the cage and go, oh shit, I didn't realise it was going to eat me. Like, it says, don't open the cage, lions inside. You know what bloody lions do? You can see through the cage and then you open it up and go, oh God, it ate me. Who'd have thought it? Like, we've got to be prepared. And that's my point. That's a good analogy because I think that you don't need to speak to Brighton to find out that Baleba's going to cost £100 million. You already know that. So if we are speaking to Brighton, there must be a plan. So I think we've got a plan. And I do think there is a warning with that plan that if we don't get this done, then we won't get him. because we won't get him next summer. Not when everyone else is ready, not after a good season, because it could be PSG, it could be Real Madrid, it could be Barcelona, it could be Arsenal, it could be Liverpool. It has to be there. That football TFT raid, Football Terrace raid. Oh, I didn't even know Terry was live. Lovely stuff. Welcome to the show. Hope you've had a good evening. We were just talking about Baleba there and saying that I believe that Man United have got a plan. The Athletic are saying it seems unrealistic and unlikely because of the price. But I don't think you walk into that and not know that. So that's my thoughts on that. Just something as well. I saw, I think Andy Mitten's quotes got took out of context this morning. People were really twisting them into making something that they weren't. What he basically said was that Man United want Baleba. Baleba will want to come to Man United, but there's a huge, amount of things that need to be done to make that happen. But one quote I did see that I quite liked was he saying that effectively, I think we're going to see a considerable amount of movement between now and the end of the transfer window, outgoings and incomings. He goes on to say that although there's quite a lot of interest in Manchester United players other than the bomb squad, who the club would listen to offers to. So beyond Garnacho and Anthony and Malacia and obviously Sancho, because Rashford's gone, there's potential for other players to leave Manchester United. And obviously there's that feeling that once players realise they aren't part of the plans, then they may change their outlook on leaving. So I think that that's quite interesting. I still think we're in for quite a busy last 3.5 weeks of the transfer window. I do agree with that. So look, I mean, those that busyness can include whatever you want. It can be busy on people like Donnarumma, and it can be busy on people like Baleba, or it can be busy on people like Lemens and a different midfielder. But I think it's going to be busy with both ins and outs. So, and just on Donnarumma as well, I've seen people like putting stuff out there that we're in transfer talks with Donnarumma. We're not. I've seen people talking that, a deal with Donnarumma is close. It's not. I've spoken to a couple of very credible people. You can probably guess their names this evening. And they've said, no, there's nothing advanced on Donnarumma at all. But there was this apparent Instagram like of a Manchester United picture that then got deleted. People get very excited about Instagram likes. The reality is that could be a million and one things. I mean, well, it couldn't be a million things, but it could be Donnarumma, I like Man United, oh shit, I've probably caused a load of trouble, let me delete it. It could be Donnarumma, ooh, Man United are interested in me, I'll like that to create more of a noise around me. So it could be provocative, it could be genuine, who knows? What I would say is you can't rule it out until you have been ruled out. But I think the interesting thing with Donnarumma is that we're not in talks at the moment. Absolutely not. And it's only coming from speculative people online that have been proven wrong on things in the past. So they're not Fabrizio Romano, they're not David Ornstein, they're not Ben Jacobs, and they're not in the know. So look, the reality is we're not in talks with Donnarumma. I can jump and say that we are, but we're not. Because that's not how the football world works. You're not somebody on social media who nobody even knows who you are going, we're in talks with Donnarumma. You don't get that information. That's not how the transfer window works. And people can be arsey about it and say, oh, just because you haven't. No, genuinely, I would love it. That Indicala news was very interesting. But the reality is, on Donnarumma, I'm telling you now, nobody's getting an exclusive on that other than Ornstein and Romano. And probably Romano, because Donnarumma's agency was Mino Raiola's agency. Do the maths. If we're in talks with Donnarumma, that's not going to break from some ITK on X. That's going to break from Ornstein or Romano like it always does. So until that drops, I would say, be calm. Because when you look at the last two transfers, Mbeumo and Sesko, Ornstein dropped those. So I'm waiting for that. But my genuine thoughts with Donnarumma is that it would be stunning. It would be stunning. And I would love to believe it. But everything suggests that it could happen because I think he's got to find a move. And the goalkeeper market is not that flush when you go through the clubs. There really only is in the Premier League, Chelsea potentially, and us. So it could happen, but I just feel that it won't. I feel that financially, we might not fancy it because, to be blunt, Zlatan, Erling Haaland, Donnarumma. I think they're all part of that, Pogba, they're all part of that agency, that Mino Raiola agency. And those agencies are very much about protecting the agency and the player. And we've had our fingers burnt with that in the past. And with a year left on his contract, I think this is going to be a financial choice. And I don't know whether Man United will fancy that. They might do. If they can find something that works, they'll probably do it. But we've certainly been and adhered to a stricter financial package and wages over the last 18 months. I don't think we're going to blow that. But look, it would be a stunning move, and you can't rule it out. But at the moment, I think we need that, bigger thing. And I mean, look, I would love something like that to happen. I would love it because, I can say this. So I've got, I was laughing tonight because I was playing a bit of, I got a code for EA FA26, the beta code. And I'm not allowed to upload any footage from it or anything like that. That's part of the policy, etc. I'm really enjoying it, actually. Let me just say, I don't know whether it's just subconsciously or by design, but I've had a couple of moments in playing it as Man United where let's just say it's quite realistic with Onana's parrying of shots. There's been 2 or 3 where I've been playing it and it's like, that shouldn't be going there. It's literally going back into the danger zone. And I've gone, yeah. But look, it's realistic if that's what it is. It might just be subconscious, but it does. Every time it happens, I go, we need a new goalkeeper in real life. If they're coding this game accurately with that, it's a reminder that we need a proper goalkeeper, definitely. Sean PM, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you for getting your badge in. Absolutely love that. Thank you very, very much and appreciate your support. As always, shocked we ain't had a De Jong story this window. I think that's over, Mike. It's a bit like Schneider and Gayton. It's over now. Howder says, you talk so fast tonight, Fastbridge. Happy for the trophy today or on the beer? I think it's because I'm stood up. Yeah, I think when I stand up, I'm a little bit more animated. So yeah, I think that's why I probably speak a little bit. I'll try and slow it down. Seeing the crosses that Mbeumo was putting in today, I think this will complement Sesko well when you consider the height and jumping ability. Marcus, look, I'm happy to go where you want to go. I do want to talk about the team, of course. I was just catching up on some of the topical stuff. But look, you've seen my match reaction. I think I don't want us to be a boring transitional side. And I thought we were boring today. But you can't deny, as much as we're crap at defending crosses, we're actually decent at attacking crosses, and we've been gradually getting better. I saw it again today, Yoro, the goal, which probably would have been, I'll put my hands up, that goal probably would have been disallowed in the Premier League, but it's a friendly. Heaven, Yoro, Casemiro, winning headers from good crosses. So look, it might not, well, it pleases me, but we might not be playing great football, but we are quite a threat from crosses into the box. And that's been statistically analysed by teams many times over the last decade, and it can be a big differential. So yes, if Mbeumo can put a good cross in and you've got another big player like Sesko, it can help. If Donnarumma and Baleba are available, I'm still struggling to see why we prioritise spending 60 plus on another 10 without moving Bruno on, says Tom. What did you think of our midfield today, says Brody? And chance of the Hotometer return for the ins and outs, says Irfan. I think we will try and bring that back for you, certainly. There's a couple of other topical things I want to talk about, but there's a few people asking about the game today in the midfield, so I think we'll just quickly go through that. Ben says, if Baleba falls through, do you like Wharton? Yes, I do, yeah. Nick P was at the game today. With what a talent Yoro is, he stood out like a sore thumb today in terms of quality. Really hope we can keep him for years to come. Look, even if he does go to Real Madrid, I don't think he's going to Real Madrid before he's 24, which gives us another 4 seasons. And if we're still shit in 4 seasons, you wouldn't begrudge it him anyway. I think the great thing about the Yoro deal, and I said it at the time, he probably is on a trajectory to go to Real Madrid. It may have even been in his head when he turned Real Madrid down that if I go to the Premier League and play there for 5 years, I think I can then go to Real Madrid. And maybe that is the plan. But if you match his expectations, it becomes harder. So if we're in the Champions League and we're competing for the Premier League and the Champions League by the time he's 24, he may well stay. If we're not, you wouldn't begrudge him going. So it's a win-win for me. Mark, what do you think of the percentage is at the moment that we get Baleba? I'm sort of 60-40 in our favour. Yeah. Mark Best, thank you very much for your super chat. What wine are you on tonight? Says Flip Disc. I'm not on anything tonight. No. I had too many on Thursday night, so I've had a couple of nights off. If we could get Donnarumma on 250k a week, would you take it? Says Shuhi. I mean, I would, but I don't really know what the wage structure is around United, so I don't know. What I would say about today, and there's a couple of things I would bring in. I had a look at Arsenal today. Their last pre-season game, I think, before they play us. And I watched us. And what I saw, and I know it's pre-season, but to be honest, pre-season or not, it was happening in the Premier League last year. What I saw from Arsenal was a ridiculously good defensive side with goals all over the place and a rhythm and system that they all understand. Even with Gyökeres in the team, they've got ridiculous competition for places. Even Madueke played well for them, which a lot of people have mocked them signing him. I mean, they've got younger players like Wanyeri coming through. They've got another young lad coming through that looks really good in pre-season. I forget his name. I want to say Andy Townsend, and it's not. Obviously, Havertz is back. He scored a good goal. They've got Gyökeres, they've got Martinelli, they've got Trossard, they've got Saka, they've got Zubimendi in the midfield, they've got Norgard, they've got Odegaard. They've just got so much talent. Their defence is very good. And I watched them today and I went, you know what? We're beating them next week. No, I'm not saying that. No, what I'm saying is they're in a very good position to start the season. I don't think they've won every game in pre-season. I mean, they lost to Spurs, didn't they? And I think they lost another game, but they looked good today. It's almost like they're timing it well because they've got a very difficult start to the season. They've got us opening day and then they've got Liverpool third game. So they've got a tough start to the season and it's a big season for Arteta. I mean, look, you talk about the pressure of Amorim and potentially the Amorim outers. The Arteta outers in that fan base are still waiting. So if they were to lose to us or draw to us and then lose to Liverpool and have like 4 points from 9, there would be big pressure on them. So I think it's quite telling when you look at United today and you look at Arsenal. This is the thing I wanted to say. In defence of Amorim and in defence of Manchester United, we're not there. We're not there. Like, we're not where Arsenal are. And Donnarumma, Baleba, Sesko, Cunha and Mbeumo doesn't put us there. And I think there's some out there running away with those amazing names and going, oh yeah, that puts us there. It genuinely doesn't put us there. And I think today teaches that because even if you have Donnarumma in goal and you put Baleba in the midfield and you put Cunha and Mbeumo behind Sesko, they've still got to settle. They might not all work. One or two of them might flop and they've still got half a team around them that needs to get used to them and perform better. So even if we bring those players in, we're not Arsenal or Liverpool and we're not going to be this season. There has to be, in my opinion, a level of understanding that even if you bring a load of good players in, you're not necessarily going to hit the ground running. They've got to adjust to a league, in the case of Sesko. They've got to adjust to each other in relation to Cunha and Mbeumo. And then, obviously, Donnarumma and Baleba, that would be the same. So I just think that we need to temper expectation even if we have this dream transfer window because it doesn't work like that. You don't win the transfer window and then win the Premier League. I think this season for me, we have to be looking at just seeing why people are laughing. You have to be looking at it and have a realistic look at it. I personally think, because I've got to do my Premier League predictions show for Monday on That's Football, so I've got to start thinking about everybody else, which is difficult because I think there's a lot of activity that's going to happen in the next 3 weeks. But I think that we're going for Newcastle, we're going for Spurs, we're going for Aston Villa, we're going for Brighton, we're going for 5th. I think that's what we're looking at, and anything beyond that would be incredible. So there will be. I mean, look, let me put it like this: if we lose to Arsenal, and we beat Fulham, and we beat Burnley, and then we lose to Man City, but we draw with Chelsea, from our first 15 points, we would have 7. That's not the end of the world. Because you've played 3 of the best teams in the league, and then you're going to start playing the Crystal Palaces and the Nottingham Forests and the Brentfords and everyone like that. And if you start winning those, that's what I mean. I think people just need to, it's really difficult. It's like saying empty Old Trafford. It's never going to happen. But I feel like whatever happens in the first 5 games, don't start going Amorim out. Like, it will neither dictate our season good or dictate our season. If we won all 5 games, people would start talking about Champions League football and winning the Premier League. And yet we could go and lose our next 5. And if we lose to Man City, Chelsea and Arsenal, and we get 6 points from 15, there'll be people saying Amorim out. But I'll be saying, hold on a minute, we're nowhere near as good as them. We've lost to teams that are better than us, and we've beaten the 2 teams that we should beat. We've now got a run of games where we can go and win. Let's see where we are after 10 games, because if we're around 5th place, is that not what we want? And I think that's important. Rajaf says, I don't understand why people underestimate Madueke. He has a lot of potential and he has excellent motivation because he has leveled up to be a starter. I mean, Rajaf, to be honest with you, I couldn't give 2 shits if I'm being completely blunt, because he's an Arsenal player. I'm enjoying your arse. I'm sorry, I'm enjoying your arse. You're definitely not. I don't even know where I got that from. I'm enjoying your show. I think I went from Arsenal player and left it in. Oh, left it in. Enjoying your show from the US, Mark. Keep it going, says Samed. Ajit, I'm not actually going to read what you're saying because everybody's seen it and they're laughing at it. Well done. He's talking about City loaning their centre-back called Pussy, and he's done it in a different way. I see Donnarumma going to Madrid free next summer, says Irfan. Yeah, you just never know, do you? You never know what the longer game is. Why is Rasmus being forced out and Onana isn't, says Parker. Look, you know what? The interesting thing is, I don't know. I don't really know what the plan is with Onana. I don't really know what the plan is with Onana, because if you got Donnarumma or you got Martinez, he's not playing, and yet there's nothing going on with him. But then part of me thinks, I'll tell you what, I don't know what's happened to me over the last 2 weeks, because I do find reasons for United to defend them. But then part of me thinks, well, he has been injured for 4 weeks. He's not played a game. So from Man United's point of view, they can't get rid of him until he's fit anyway. So are they just waiting for him to be fit before they start pushing him out? I mean, I don't know. But I think getting rid of Onana is a lot easier than removing an outfield player, because if you bring in Emi Martinez or Donnarumma, you ain't playing, bro. I don't know why I said bro. Bruv. I don't know. I should have said bruv. But he isn't going to play because goalkeepers don't really get injured, and we're not in Champions League, so there's no rotation. So if I was Onana and Man United bring a number 1 goalkeeper in, I've got to go because I'm not going to get any game time. So I hope that that's going to happen, but I don't know. With regard to Rasmus, Parker, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't leave, you know. I wouldn't be surprised if he says, I don't want to go on loan to AC Milan. I wouldn't be surprised if he said, you know, I've seen Harry Maguire refuse to go. I've seen other players refuse to go and prove you wrong. I'll take my chances. And if I haven't had any game time by January, then maybe I'll take a short loan. But I wouldn't be surprised if he said, you know what? I don't want to go. I'm going to take my chances here until Christmas and we'll see how much game time I get. I wouldn't be surprised, because if he doesn't want to go, then, you know, he doesn't have to. And then it's up to Amorim whether he uses him or not, isn't it? But he might not go. But I think if you're Onana, I think you sort of have to. If we get a goalkeeper in. Donnarumma, Baleba, Cunha and Bermo, Sesko would be an insane transfer window. 2028 could be on. After this, we would only need small tweaks going forward, says Nick Warren. Disagree. I think football's changed, Nick. I agree with you. If we could get to a point where we could win a league before 2030, that would be great. But I think if you win a league, look at what Liverpool have done. Those days of winning the league title and just going, we're okay, are over. You've got to keep going now. There's so much money in the game. You've got to keep... I think summers like this have to be the same every year now. And that's where the Glazers have made mistakes. They've spent to get back in the Champions League, and then they stopped spending. I mean, we saw it with Jose. The summer before he got the sack, he finished second. They didn't give him any money. He was out by Christmas. It happened with Ollie as well. They'll spend to get you back in the Champions League, and then they'll pull the rug. So I think you've just got to keep spending now. It's just the way it's going to go. I mean, what Liverpool and Chelsea have done and Arsenal have done, it's incredible amounts of money. Ewan Gordon says, if we don't get Baleba, will we go for another 60 to 80 million midfielder, or will other clubs realise we're desperate, making it hard to negotiate a deal? Look, back on Baleba, Ewan. This is why I believe we'll get him, because, like, when we were in for Sesko, people started talking about alternatives. oh, if we don't get him, will we go back to Villa? And will Villa know that we've got 70 million and say they want 60? We never went back to Villa because we were confident of getting Sesko. Name me a deal we've done this summer that we haven't actually got done. I know last summer Branthwaite didn't go, but I think we learnt a lot. We walked and we realised that you don't start going for a player where there's no... I think with Mbeumo, we were willing to pay the 65, and we did. We tried to negotiate it down, but we paid what they wanted, and we were willing to do that. With Branthwaite, I think we went in, Branthwaite wanted to come. We were never going to go to 50 million, and Everton wanted 70. And can I just say how stupid Everton look about that now? Because they, no one's in for Branthwaite, are they? So we were right to walk away from that. Some people are saying Delap. I think Delap was different. So I said, name me a deal we've gone for this summer, and we've not got the player. I think Delap's very different because Delap was a release clause, and it was a cheap release clause. And he basically did the tour of Britain, didn't he? So I think with Delap, for whatever reason, it was Champions League dependent, and it was I think it was about Champions League football. But Mbeumo, we went, we got. Sesko, we went, we got. So, I mean, you can take Cunha out of it if you want to, because he was a release clause, and that was basically before the end of the season as well. But every player we've gone for since the transfer window opened, we've got. And I think that there won't be an alternative to Baleba, because I think we've gone into this with our eyes wide open. I think we have a plan. That's my opinion anyway. If we get Baleba, we'll be similar to title-winning Chelsea of 16-17. Sesko similar to Costa, Baleba to Kante, says Return of the Mac. I mean, that's great, but I don't compare anything to anything. I think, as I've said, PSG winning the Champions League, I think that was the final nail in the Pep Guardiola era of playing football. And I don't want to see teams in League One in England playing out from the back like Pep and trying to play through passing lines anymore. And I also think that this summer transfer window has closed the door on the last decade as well. I mean, I don't think you can compare what people have done in the past anymore, because, it's incredible. I think we're walking into a new world of football now, and most of that's down to the Champions League and the amount of money that's available. The spending is incredible, especially in the Premier League. I mean, look at Real Madrid and Barcelona and PSG. They've not really had the windows that Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool and Arsenal have they? The Premier League has just gone up a gear this year. It's incredible. Did you see Amorim's comments on Rasmus after the game, says Alfie? I saw a comment. I mean, I don't necessarily know that was aimed at Rasmus. It was a comment about, we missed a striker today and now we've got one. But I don't think that was aimed at Rasmus. I think it was aimed at the fact that Cunha and Mbeumo and Mount didn't work, and it didn't work last week. Obviously, he could have brought Rasmus on and he didn't, but we did miss a striker today. Everybody knows we missed a striker today. It was boring in the front three, and I thought Mount played well. I thought Cunha played well, and I thought Mbeumo put an effort in. But, if you're in the front three playing well because you run around a lot and you make tackles and you play passes, actually you're there to shoot, you're there to create, and it didn't work because they didn't have a focal point striker. Cunha needed Larson last season at Wolves, didn't he? And Mbeumo needed Wizza. Mason Mount needed whoever was up front for Chelsea when he was good a few years ago. So they didn't have that today, and I think that's what Amorim was talking about, and we now have that with Sesko. I wonder how would be a starting 11 without Bruno, given more time to Ugarte and Mainu. Sorry, my English. Greetings to all in the channel. Look, Marlon, I mean, your English is absolutely fine. Thomas says, what's your starting lineup for Arsenal, Mark? Look, I think one of the disappointments about pre-season is that it's very difficult to, what I would like to say is, when Ugarte and Mainu came on for the last 10 minutes and Bruno went to 10, I liked it. And there was a game on the US tour where Bruno played as a 10, and I can't remember what the midfield two was. I don't know whether it was Casemiro and Mainu or whether it was Ugarte and Mainu. But, I prefer that. Now, I'm not saying either Mainu or Ugarte are better than Bruno. That's bullshit. But I like the balance of that better. But we're not going to see that, are we? So, but that is one of the two things that I'm sort of picking up from the fan base at the moment and from the pre-season. We didn't utilise Ugarte and Mainu enough to really know. I don't think we used them enough in pre-season. We didn't use Kone at all, by the way. We've seen Bruno play a ridiculous amount of minutes in the midfield. And if he wants to play every minute, I'd like to have seen him a little bit more in 10, so we could have tried some midfield combinations out. But I think there's two really big stories that we need to take into the season. One of them we're fully aware of. And obviously, you know, we need a goalkeeper, we need a midfielder, they're stories. But I think there are two stories that are going to supersede the transfer window and continue into the autumn and into the new year, to the end of the season. One of them is well documented. The refusal to take the money from Al Hilal for Bruno and to stick him in the midfield is a huge call. And I hope Amorim's right about that, because it has to be. He has to be right. So Bruno in the midfield is going to be an ongoing assessment throughout the season. We know that. But I'm starting to see people talking about Amad as a right wing back. I like him there. I mean, I'm in the I like Amad at right wing back club. I do like it. I mean, but I saw a bit of Sporting, and it's meant to be wingers on the wides. And I think when I see Amad there, but then let me just give you the other side. I see people saying this is not going to work. Defensively, he's not good enough. He's too left-footed. He's not going to whip a right-footed cross in. You'd be better off with Mbeumo there and Amad at number 10. And maybe we'll evolve into that. I certainly have said that you could put Amad at right wing. You could put Mbeumo as right wing back because he's got a lovely cross on him. And with Sesko in the middle, you could do that. But I think there's two really interesting stories for the season. And that's exciting. You know, Bruno in the midfield has to work. Many of us are a bit doubtful, but I want to be wrong. And then Amad at right wing back is becoming a bit of a story in the fan base as well. And there's two big things there that Amorim needs to be right on, both of them, doesn't he? And I tell you what, on the right wing back, he's got to be right. You cannot get it wrong with Amad, because you've bought Cunha and Mbeumo and you've still got Mount and Xerxes. And if Amad doesn't work at right wing back, you better put him back as a number 10. This is not a surplus to requirements player. This is we can deal with Garnacho. He's shat the bed. But Amad, we can't get this wrong. So the shift of Amad to right wing back has to work, because I'm not having Amad out the team. Like, if he doesn't work at right wing back, he definitely goes to number 10. But does he go to number 10 now? Because we've got too many options there. But look, on the Amad situation, I take it on board. The conversation's really interesting. People were talking about it in the watch along. But for me, I just see it as a new role. And a little bit like Bruno, I suppose. But I'm more positive about Amad at right wing back, because when you look at what Amorim's system was at Sporting, you don't need a back five. And last season, one of my big criticisms was we were basically playing a back five. 3 centre-backs and 2 wing-backs. A back five and 2 holding midfielders. It's way too defensive. It turns into counter-attacking football. You know, if we'd employed a manager that plays a back five, nobody would have wanted it. The reason we were excited about Amorim is because it's a 3-4-3. It's really attacking. You can overwhelm the opposition because you've got 2 number 10s, 2 wide players, a striker. And that's what I want to see. So Amad at right wing back, people can moan about it, but I look at it and I go, well, this is the first step to becoming what we're meant to be. We're meant to be a back 3, not a back 5. And if Amad's a winger, then you start to overwhelm teams on the attack. It's sort of like, it's the gradual progression from being sat down to standing up and going on the front foot. And I want to see Amad at right wing back because I want to see that work. I get the conversation. I understand the reservation. But for me, this is the progression and evolution that we need. So if Amad didn't work, I wouldn't be putting Delo or Mazraoui there. I'd be going, well, who's the right winger who's going to go there then? Because we can't go back to Delo and being defensive. That doesn't work for me. Because the 3 centre-backs are really, really important in this system, and I don't feel we've evolved there enough. Most teams, like you look at Arsenal next week, it's a back 4. You look at Liverpool, it's a back 4. Like you look at Liverpool and it'll be Van Dijk and whoever sending their fullbacks forward this season. They'll be saying to Kerkez and Frimpong, you go forward. and they'll be left as a 2. And at times, last season, we had 3 centre-backs and full-backs. So if the top teams in this league are leaving 2 centre-backs at the back to send their wing-backs forward, we've got 3 centre-backs. And we need to evolve to understand you don't need 3 centre-backs. Like, it's overkill. You do not need 3 centre-backs. So our centre-backs really should be moving across to cover the attacking wing-back or stepping into the midfield to overload that. So we've still got a lot of evolution to come with this system. But I will champion the Ahmad thing because I think we've got to start doing that. Frank says, Ahmad and Burmo are very similar in my opinion. Too many times they made the same runs out wide and Burmo confused when Ahmad gets the ball, says Frank. But you would expect that as well. This is what I mean about, it's a great point because this is what I mean about, like, if we get Donnarumma and Baleba and we've got Cunha and we've got Mbeumo and we've got Sesko, people are talking about we're going to win the league. And then you watch the game today and quite rightly, Mbeumo and Ahmad don't have a relationship. That might take till October. I don't think people forget. I think people forget this stuff. I think they forget that Vidic and Evra took 6 months to settle and became legends. I think people forget that not all our legends that we bought hit the ground running. That there has to be, and I don't think patience exists in football anymore. We saw it with Agate last year. You know, one bad game at the start, oh, he's rubbish. These players are going to take time. I don't think Mbeumo's even fit. So he's got to get used to players around him and he's got to learn about players around him. And this leads into another good point. I don't know whether I mentioned it in detail, but I certainly tweeted it after the game. You look at where we were going wrong today. Bruno has to learn discipline on the ball because Cunha and Mbeumo at Brentford and at Wolves will be used to getting the ball into their feet because they're the best players in that team. Ball into feet, make things happen. Quick ball into feet, into space. What I saw a lot of today is Bruno getting the ball and pinging the ball over their heads. They want it into their feet. They don't want to be chasing a long ball. So there's a lot of relationships that still have to get learned. What I'm trying to say is we're not hitting the ground running against Arsenal and we're not hitting the ground running against Fulham. We're not hitting the ground running against Burnley. And after the international break, we're probably still not hitting the ground running against Man City. This is going to take a couple of months. Any new signing needs a couple of months. We could have 5. So the expectation from the media will be to create a story of negativity if things go wrong. We need to be way more switched on that as fans. This, logically, is going to take time. It could be an amazing end to the transfer window. But they're not all going to hit the ground running. There literally has to be an element of patience. For me, that's why it's just about hanging around 5th. Hanging around 5th. It's not excuses, Sam. It's reality. It's history. It's evidence. It's every single football club that buys 5 or 6 players in a summer. There has to be a period of augmentation. If you're Liverpool or Arsenal, you've already got a strong core and you can absorb those new players. But I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool have an adjustment period with Kerkez and Frimpong and Wirtz and Ekitike. I think there will be an adjustment period, but they're coming into a Champions team. I think at Arsenal, there will have to be an adjustment period for Gyökeres and everyone like that, but they're coming into a good team. Our new signings are coming in as saviours. They're coming into a shit team. If we get Baleba and Donnarumma, however, we're still quite light on the left wing back and Leon is not ready. Who can come in if Dorgu is out? Well, we're not doing that, Chicharito. I don't want to be blunt, but you're talking about stuff that's not getting done this summer transfer window. It's like me saying, oh, if we get Donnarumma and Baleba and we've got Cunha and Mbeumo and we've got Sesko as well, what centre-back are we going to get? Because I just think Martinez could get injured again, Heaven's too young, and Luke Shaw's sponsored by Casualty. Well, I'm not getting one. There are things that will not get solved this summer, and we're not going to solve anything else now other than a goalkeeper and a midfielder. That's your lot. If we get it done, that's going to be it. We move with what we've got because we're a project. We're not going to be ready. Do you still see us struggling against the low block, says Daz? I mean, we've got to get high up the pitch with possession to find out. I don't think we're doing that enough at the moment already. We're still transitioning, aren't we? We're still looking for the quick ball. I mean, I think we need to slow down in the build-up to see if we can break a low block. I think we're quite well equipped to deal with a low block. I mean, I think Dorgu looks a lot better. Sesko's going to be a threat in the box. Cunha and Mbeumo are good round the box. I think we'll be okay, but the big the big challenge is going to be to get to the edge of the box first. Either way, we'll find out next weekend how good our wing-backs are. If we lose, don't be surprised that the wing-backs get a lot of the blame, says Brody. I noticed we're hard to score against during the pre-season. We don't have control or scared about keeping the ball in the centre of pitch. Baleba needs, says Aki. Thanks for Frank. Thank you to Chikorito. Do you regret not supporting McTominay United and now he's a Ballon d'Or nominee? That's one of those questions I can move on from, isn't it? Because it's just stupid. Points won't sack Amorim. Lack of progress might, says Bofferman. And hi, Mark. Just on the McTominay one thing, to be serious, like, it's a running joke that I don't have to answer the stupid comments, as voted for by you. But why am I talking about Scott McTominay? He went a year ago under a different manager and Ineos sold him. I mean, I don't see the relevance of talking about Scott McTominay. It's a waste of time when we've got proper stuff to talk about. Rizik says, I trust you well. If we don't get Baleba, who would be plan B? I'm sure there is another player. Donnarumma would be a huge upgrade to Onana. Mate, Rizik, you'd be a huge upgrade to Donnarumma. I've never seen you in goal. But seriously, Donnarumma would be stunning. I hope there is a plan, but there has to be a plan B for... Well, I don't think there is a plan B for Baleba, actually. I don't think there is. Yeah. Why do players hold much more power in football contracts than clubs? A player can force a transfer, but a club can't fire a player like an employee, says Sartek. Employees' rights, I suppose. I don't know. PFA, which is the Players' Football Association, that players are very protected. I wonder how would be a starting 11 without Bruno, giving more time to Ugarte and Mainu. Sorry, my English. I've done that one from Marlon. Thank you very much. Somebody said, do you think we saw the starting lineup today for Manchester United against Arsenal? I think De Ligt is better than Maguire in that centre position. There's more mobility. Yoro will definitely start. I don't think Mazraoui's going to be ready. I don't think Xerxes is going to be ready. They've not played a minute in a month. So left centre-back's going to... I think it'll be Luke Shaw, but Heaven's got a chance. I think that Dorgu will definitely play. Goalkeeper, I don't know. Will Onana go straight in, having not played? Or will he go with Binder? I mean, I don't think... Yeah. Right wing-back will be very interesting. I think it'll be Delot. I think we'll go defensive against Arsenal. I think we'll be a back five. I think it'll be Delot against... you know what? I haven't even given it any thought, and I'm not doing my preview until Thursday, but honestly, I think Delot will play. I think Casemiro and Bruno will play. I think we'll play deep. I think we'll play counter. And I think Mbeumo and Cunha will spend a lot of the game chasing the long ball. And he might start Mount again to try and, you know, pressure Arsenal on work rate. But I tell you what, if we start Delot and we start Mount and we don't start Sesko and we don't start Ahmad and we go 1-0 down, that could turn to 2 or 3 very quickly and, you know, we're in big trouble. But I don't see us playing Ahmad at right wing back against Arsenal, and I don't see Sesko starting. And obviously Rasmus isn't getting minutes. So it could be more or less, as Robert McCormack said, I reckon that might be the starting lineup for Arsenal. But I would expect De Ligt to play instead of Maguire. But apart from that, and Delot to play instead of Ahmad. But yeah. Yeah, we probably did. I mean, we're a week out from Arsenal, so why would you not be looking at that, I suppose? The real test of Amorim is at least getting the same numbers from Cunha and Bryan they did last season. We can't make accuse of adjusting to the Premier League, says Roosh. I think we need to appreciate that even seeing entertaining football would be good progress. Yes, Grant, I've said it before. If you finish 5th, you will still lose 8 to 10 games. Every game we lose is a drama. Quite rightly. But if you finish 5th, you're going to still lose 8 to 10 games. Let me just confirm that. I mean, I'm not looking into the future now. I'm looking into last season's Premier League table. So here it is, 24-25. Premier League table. Newcastle lost 12 games and finished 5th. So 12 times we could lose and get 5th place. 12 times you could be ranting Amorim out this season. 12 games out of 38. 13 games is a third of them. So we could lose 12 games and get 5th place. That is such a brilliant and sobering point. And this is why, if we lose to Arsenal next week, it's not the end of the world in relation to what we're trying to achieve. And if we then lose to Chelsea and Man City, it's not the end of the world of what we're trying to achieve. So I think people need to maybe just do a little bit. I don't want to be condescending. That's not how we work. Well, not for the last few weeks. But if fifth is all we can hope for, understand what 5th place is. It is losing about 10 games. You know, if you're going to finish fifth, you have got to lose about 10 games, which is, you know, that could be Arsenal home and away, Liverpool home and away, Man City home and away, Chelsea home and away. That's 8. And then you lose to Villa away and Newcastle away. And that's 10 games. And you still finish 5th. So we are going to lose games. I think it was Patrick Lynch who said a couple of days ago, there will be a roller coaster. And 5th place will be a roller coaster. So get that in your head, because you're going to have to deal with a lot as an individual. You're going to have to deal with a lot. You're going to have to deal with the press screaming at you to be Amorim out. You're going to have people in the fan base screaming at you, Amorim out. And you're going to have to be strong. And you're going to have to understand what you value. What I value is Man United getting better, not getting worse. And I think sacking another manager, I mean, we've just spent, what, £200 million on him? I don't want to see another manager sacked. So I expect us to lose 10 games this season. But that doesn't mean that we can't get 5th. I think we need to appreciate that even, thank you very much for that from Grant. I think this season's onwards, all on non-Ineos signings will be scrutinised more internally. Ruben will want to build a full squad as per his profile needs, says Hitton. IDR says, you're right, the outfield will take weeks to adjust, but Donnarumma could stop us. Yes, I absolutely agree. I do. Look, we've got to trust what's going on, but I think you're right. And this is a great point as well. It's absolutely understandable that Sesko is going to take time because he's not even going to, he's had no pre-season with us. It's understandable that Cunha and Mbeumo are going to take time because they're adjusting to new teams and a new system. Maybe not in the case of Cunha, but certainly in the case of Mbeumo. People aren't even talking about that. I've seen people talking about Mbeumo not looking good today. And I'm like, he's been playing a 4-3-3. He's now playing in a 3-4-3. It's a very different position. So he's got to adjust to that in a new club at Man United. We haven't even got the midfielder yet. So our new signings are going to take time. It does make you think maybe getting a good goalkeeper in might have been a good idea, because having a good goalkeeper when you're adjusting might be somebody that can keep you in games, get your points, keep you a clean sheet. And it's a great point by IDR, because we haven't changed the goalkeeper. We know there's going to be adjustment. We know we're going to need time with the outfield signings. If we had a good goalkeeper, that might give us a little bit more time. It might keep us in games. But at the moment, we are where we are with the goalkeeper, which makes me believe we've got a plan. It makes me believe that the goalkeeper we want has to be done in the back end of August. Remember what I said last night about Emi Martinez? He's suspended for the first Villa game. If they get a result and the goalkeeper does well, I think Emery will leave him out for the second game. And then suddenly he needs to move, and maybe there is a deal that United can do. We did ask for a loan deal. So I just feel that maybe with the goalkeeper we want, we can't get. Because they know, like we know, we need a goalkeeper. So maybe they've got something lined up later in the window. Because Lemens is too easy. Lemens is like, you could have done it a month ago. He's at Royal Antwerp. He's 19 million quid. You can get him. So I wonder whether we've got a plan with the goalkeeper. Either way, we'll find out next weekend. I've done that one from Brody. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. Savage says, I pray we get Emi Martinez. Onana's injury is suspicious. Is it fake, says Parker. Pap says we're going to win the league. Must be a Liverpool fan. What's your ratio between winning and playing good, says Casper. You know what? The brilliant thing about finishing in 5th place is that you're going to lose a lot of games. So the ratio of winning and losing is going to be quite high. So I demand good football. I think if we finish 5th, we're going to lose some games anyway. So let's get some good football. Johnny says, I feel for Rasmus, thrown under the bus when developing as the main man with the bomb squad supplying him, now forced out, let him stay till January, says Johnny. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I don't think Rasmus is as bad as people have made out. I think there was a player at the end of the season that was bloody awful because he was on his arse of confidence. I think he was thrown in at the deep end by Ten Hag. I think he has had to endure 2 years behind very selfish, immature players. And I think now that things are changing, you probably wish, you were staying under the new regime. But sometimes ships pass in the night. Timing's everything. There's nobody, life's not fair, is it? Life's not fair, so football's not going to be fair. But personally, if I was him, and I don't know what's going on, I would refuse Milan if I didn't want to go, and I would stay because he can go in January, and it's not like Denmark have got loads and loads of striker options, so he's going to get picked for Denmark. The worst case scenario, I think the international coach will say you need a club by January, otherwise, there's going to be problems. I think you give yourself 4 months to have a go. And, at the end of the day, he's in control, not Man United. If they're saying to Amorim or Amorim I don't know what the situation is. What I do know is that sometimes a manager will be told, don't pick that player, we're trying to sell him. So maybe Amorim would have picked Rasmus today. Maybe didn't want to pick him. I don't know the story. But the fact that United are trying to loan Rasmus to get 8 million quid, if I was the player, I'd know I'm in control. Because if they're so desperate to get me out for 8 million quid, that just shows you how, it's not 40 million, is it? It's 8 million pounds. That's the loan deal. So if they're that desperate for 8 million that they're trying to, force me out of the team and stuff like that, I'd sort of be going, yeah, you're not in a strong position here. You're not. So I'm not going to rush for the first option to help you get 8 million quid. But some people would go, well, I'm not wanted, I'll go. So it'd be interesting to see. As Andy Mitten said, I think there's going to be quite a bit of movement over the... look, I keep coming back to Manu as well. If we signed Baleba, what would you even think? And we must try and sign Baleba. But has anybody even thought about that? We can talk about Rasmus and Onana because imminently they could be, players that we're trying to get out of the club, certainly. But if you're Kobbie Mainoo and Man United signed Baleba, he's not stupid. You'd be there going, okay, some people think I'm a number 10, but there's 6 ahead of me. Some people think I'm a midfielder. They've just bought one for 100 million. He's going to start. Bruno's going to start. I'm a bench player at best. And look, maybe Man United are okay with that. Maybe Amorim's okay with that. Maybe he's like, I don't think you're ready yet. I'm going to build you up over the next 18 months. But Mainoo's going to look at it and go, you're going to build me up from the bench for the next 18 months. A year ago, I was starting for England in the Euros final. There's a World Cup next year. I've got no chance of going. I'm not going to the World Cup because I'm not playing football. So I still find the Mainoo situation a little bit strange as well. Because yes, I want him to stay. And yes, he can be the understudy to Bruno. But Bruno doesn't not play. And we're not in Europe. So Bruno definitely is going to play the Carabao Cup and every Premier League minute. And Bruno doesn't get injured. So I'd be sort of like going, where am I getting my minutes here? Where am I getting my minutes? I want to go to the World Cup. Where am I going to get my minutes? I can't see where I'm going to get any minutes. Unless we're going to do something amazing and stick him in the back three as a centre-back that moves into the midfield. But yet, that new contract is meant to be being announced any day. New members of the bomb squad. Ruthless aggression, says Corey Lineker. If you were coach, play Baleba with Agate or Bruno, says James. I mean, I'd play Bruno as a 10 because I think he's better in the number 10 position. And also, I think we saw it today. One of the biggest issues with Bruno is his tendency to play the Hollywood pass. And the Hollywood pass is the final ball. He always wants to play the killer pass. And it was a problem when he was number 10. But at least he's higher up the pitch. When he's playing deeper and he's going for the Hollywood pass, you're gonna what's the word? You're gonna bypass Cunha's ball into his feet, hitting the Hollywood pass in behind. So the worry I have with Bruno is, and he's done interviews about this, there are interviews from Bruno where he says, I'm not going to stop playing the risky pass because that's me. So if he doesn't learn discipline, and discipline is playing the simple pass, getting the ball and feeding it into the feet of Cunha ahead of him, if he's going to still continue to hit the risky pass, he's so deep, we're going to bypass our number 10s. So I want to see Bruno as the 10 because I don't really mind the risky pass if you're the number 10 because you're going to be looking for your striker. But I don't really want risky passes from my midfield because you're going to hit long a lot of the time. So, yeah, to answer the question, I would go in Agate or Mainu and Baleba and play Bruno as a 10. I don't see how that's going to work when we've just spent 120 million quid on Cunha and Mbeumo to play in those positions, and we've still got Mason Mount and we've still got Xerxes. So that's something that Amorim is going to have to make Bruno be more disciplined and get the ball into the feet of Cunha, which is what Amorim mentioned about 3 weeks ago on the tour. He said, Bruno in that position is really important to us because he can play the ball into Cunha's feet. So we need to see that, definitely. That needs to evolve. Jason says, Rasmus should be thankful that a team like AC Milan want him. Inter Milan did, Juventus did, Napoli did, Leipzig did, I think Leverkusen did. So, I mean, he's a very lucky boy, isn't he? There's a lot of clubs that have been looking at him this summer. If you were coach, done that one. Matt Small says, I couldn't agree with you more, Mark. It's so important that we come together and back the manager no matter what until 2028. This community has the manpower to make sure he doesn't get the sack. It doesn't, Matt. You know, I detested some of the watch-alongs and match reactions towards the end of last season because you'd win against Lyon and it would be amazing, and then the following Sunday you'd lose against Wolves and people would be going Amorim out, and you'd sort of like be going, oh my God. So I know we can all talk unity when it doesn't matter, but when the whistle blows, they'll be out. They'll definitely be out. There are people who are definitely sort of in hiding, not just on YouTube, but in the press, on social media. They were very vocal, and they've not gone anywhere because in modern society, people are very stubborn, and when you've nailed your flag to the mast and you're going Amorim out, you can't really do it through the summer transfer window because no one's going to listen to you. But as soon as it comes back, as soon as we lose a game, it's going to come back. Did you see Gyökeres today? Says Kian. I don't know why people started slagging off Gyökeres. I don't know why. He's a fantastic player. I don't know why people slagged him off. I think he's going to be a brilliant signing for Arsenal. I think Zubamendi's going to be a brilliant sign for Arsenal. I've got a feeling Mascara could be a really good signing for Arsenal. So look, I think he's a brilliant player, and I think Arsenal are a very good team, and I think we've got to catch them cold. I don't think we'll lose to Arsenal. I keep saying this. I've said it for weeks. I feel I have to say something about 10 times so people remember it. I don't think we'll lose to Arsenal. I've seen Arsenal lose to Brentford opening day. I remember in the 90s they lost at home. I think Mickey Quinn scored a hat-trick for Coventry. I remember Mark Robbins scoring a goal for Norwich. Opening day can be strange. Strange things can happen. And I think 75,000, Sunday afternoon, opening weekend, hot weather, everyone's in an excited mood, Old Trafford's bubbling up, we haven't lost the week before, We're full of optimism. I just think, maybe get an early penalty. I just think we can get a result. On the other hand, we might get our arse snacked, 6-0. But I think we can get a result. But they're a very, very good side. It's like somebody was saying to me about, and I haven't seen it, but somebody was saying to me that I think it was Troy Deeney or somebody on Talk Shit was saying bad stuff about Sesko. And I would say leave him alone. I would say leave him alone. Troy Deeney, I would say leave him alone. Because I would say you're the morons. I mean, at some point you've got to wake up to the fact that if you didn't expect the mainstream media to get somebody to say Sesko's going to fail at Manchester United, you must have been living in a cave for a decade. You've got to learn to stop reacting to that, because it gets you. I've seen people moaning about it today. Oh, Troy Deeney said this about Sesko. And I'm like, what did you expect? Somebody's probably told him to say it. Like, that's how they work. That's what they do. Simon Jordan on Monday will say something about Amorim, about him being sacked by Christmas. They do it to get your attention. They thrive on talking about Manchester United. And I'd be disappointed if I hadn't heard somebody from that radio station or Sky or something say that Sesko's going to be a flop, or add 5 million onto the fee, or start talking about Amorim getting the sack. They're going to do that. Hated, adored, never ignored. We have to ignore it. We have to ignore it and not give it oxygen, even though we are giving it oxygen now, because they're not going to change. Their whole existence is Manchester United. I used to do a Saturday night show on Talk Sport, right? And Man United weren't playing, and we'd have to do stuff about Manchester United, which I didn't mind because I'm a United fan, but I'd be like, Everton have just had a good result against Newcastle. No point. No one will ring in. We've got to talk about Man United and the Glazers or something. So it's Man United, and they're not Man United fans, so they have to do stuff that's going to rile Man United fans to ring in, and that's all it is. It's the game. So I'd be disappointed if they hadn't done it, because that's just what they do. There's been an update here from Romano. It's almost like I know, isn't it? I've literally said this about 20 minutes ago. So Fabrizio Romano's update: Rasmus and AC Milan are not advancing. He wants to stay and fight for his place, even as of today, after the game as well. So it's not advancing at the moment because he wants to stay and fight for his place. United definitely are trying to push him out to get the money, but he's the player, he's the one in position of power. But I stand on this, and I know a lot of you agree with me and some of you don't, but welcome to the world of opinion. If we've still got Rasmus on September the 2nd, I'm happy. Because I saw United without Sesko today, and I found us really bad to watch as an attacking side. I thought we were really not that good, apart from set pieces and corners. So I want a striker who can push the defence back and give Cunha and Mbeumo more space. And Mount did well today, and Cunha did well today, and Mbeumo was okay, but as a three, they need a striker. Mount needs a striker. Cunha needs a striker. And Mbeumo, I'm not criticising any of them. I think they're three players trying to get used to each other in a system that's not even the system. And an Amorim system needs a striker. And it didn't have it today, and it didn't have it last week. So if Sesko struggles or gets injured, who's the striker? Because I don't think Xerxes is a striker either. So if Rasmus stays, I'd be very happy. And I think deep down, Amorim will as well. I think Amorim's just he's towing the line. You know, the club have probably said, don't pick Rasmus because we want him to feel like he needs to leave. But I think deep down, if you're Ruben Amorim, you're not going to complain about. I mean, look, if I'm Ruben Amorim, I'm like, yeah, I won't pick him. Yeah, it's going to be tough for you this season, but I'd be going, wink, wink. You know, It's going to be really tough for you to get game times. I'll give you some time. Because I'd be going, there's not a manager in the world that's going to go, I don't want to have Rasmus, Sesko, Obi and Xerxes as options up front. You know, he is going to want that. So it'll be coming from the club because the club will want the money. But there's no way Amorim's not going to want another option up front because that's how managers are. You want he will be very aware of what we're aware of. Man United have had injury crises for the last 2 years. The year before, Ten Hag's injury crisis was unheard of. It was ridiculous. Last season, we had an injury crisis from January. People forget that. We got loads of injuries again. We are a football club that gets loads of injuries. Of course, Amorim is going to want to keep hold of as many players as he can. What Sesko odds of starting on Sunday, says Richie? I mean, I think there is a chance because I think that he has had a bit of a pre-season and I think that he's also got, you know, he's got a bit of a pre-season, like I say, and he's also got a week of preparation. So, look, Mbeumo had no pre-season. Although we thought he went back for pre-season with Brentford, he trained individually. Leipzig with Sesko, I think he did play one pre-season game, but he was a massive part of, you know, he was training with the team up until this week. So, yeah, it is where it is. But sorry, I've just lost my live chat there. Cracking questions coming in tonight. I really enjoyed it. Corey Lineker says, yeah, I'm sure he'll win a battle of wills with this manager. No player has power anymore. We may be stuck with these lot, but they won't play. As I said, I don't think the battle is with Amorim. Amorim's always spoken glowingly about Rasmus. I think this is the club trying to get Rasmus out for money. I don't think Amorim really has a problem with Rasmus. I might get proven wrong on that, but I don't. That's a big one, isn't it? Not the first time people have said that to me. I do like it. Whoa, hey up. Has anybody watched the Birmingham documentary? It's a question from me for once, right? Has anybody watched the Birmingham documentary with Tom Brady? What has he got in his big bottle? You know, I was watching it last night. He walks around with this big silver bottle, and when he drinks it, it rattles. Is that just water with, like, ice in it? If I saw Tom, you know, have you ever seen Alan Partridge and they go, have you got your big plate, Alan? Because Alan Partridge was, like, basically staying in a hotel, and it was an all-you-can-eat buffet, and he'd go down with his own plate because it was bigger than theirs. And I'd say that to Tom Brady. Have you got your big bottle? It's like this big bottle. Electrolytes. Yeah, I don't know what's in it, but I don't drink any of that stuff. I do have a smoothie in the morning, but and I'll give you the recipe. It's a good kickstart. There's certain things I can and can't eat. I spent a whole year looking at that last year. But yeah, anyway, I'm starting to end the show now. I just didn't say end of the show. I'm starting to move into the end of the show. So if you don't like the after show and you like all the football chat, then unlucky. Thanks everyone for watching as well. And as always, smash a like on the video. Slightly early show tomorrow, actually, because Seb's got. I'm really excited. He's had the shortest off season ever because they finished their league in May. But then there's loads of summer tournaments. I love it. The summer tournaments are great. So it's like a mini World Cup in a day. You get there at 9 o'clock. There's a group stage. Then there's a knockout stage. So he's had a couple of those. But they actually did have an off season for 3 weeks, which seemed ages. So he's got his first game of the season tomorrow morning, but it's at 10 o'clock. So I'm going to do the morning show probably about 8:30, I think, tomorrow. Or I might do it at 12. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But it'll either be midday or 8:30 tomorrow. See how it goes. Mark, what happened to Dennis? Says Tom. Dennis is around. He's over here. I saw him today. There he is. He'll be back for pre-season, won't you? Do you think we should sell Onana? Yeah. Do you think we should sell Garnacho? Do you think we should sell Sancho? Right, fuck off. We've been practicing that all week, you stupid little shit. Told you so many times, haven't I? You're an idiot. You see, you give him a chance. You give him a chance, and he does that. People talking about Romano. I don't think there is an update on Romano because we've already spoken about it. But I'll always have a look. Oh, Romano says, Man United are in constant contact with the Baleba's agents even today. Man United want to advance from Baleba's side. Baleba is not closing the door to Manchester United. Yeah, well, look, I don't want to keep being the big I am because that's just not my style, and I don't have any information. I actually, when we get information, we'll tell you, and we have had bits over the last 6 months, but I've actually enjoyed the last week because didn't have anything on Sesko, didn't have anything on Baleba, and yet I'm very confident that we're going to get Baleba, and I was very confident that we're going to get Sesko just based on the patterns. The patterns are that we're still... Like, this is what I mean. When people say, oh, it's unrealistic, it's too much money. It was 2 days ago that we had the story that Man United have spoken to Brighton about Baleba. It's tonight that we're still getting it from Romano that we're talking to Baleba's agent. So people are going, oh, the money's too much. It's 80 to 90 million pounds. It's too much. So we've had 2 days of people telling us the money's too much. And yet tonight, Fabrizio is saying we're still talking to Baleba. So what does that tell you? All these people saying it's unrealistic and it's not going to happen. We've had a couple of days of £100 million and yet we're still talking to Baleba. So we've not walked away. We're not distracted because we've opened the cage knowing full well what's behind the cage, £100 million. So I think that... I think we've got a very good chance of doing this deal. I think it might take a few weeks. It won't be for Arsenal, but I think we've got a very good chance of doing this deal. The funny thing is that Anonymous Mango says, I think we'll break the club record to do it. We might break the club record to do it, but Sir Jim Radcliffe did say on an interview those days are over. So it's interesting that we'd look to do that. But I never liked that when Sir Jim said that, you know, the days of spending £90 million on a player over. Because if Ruben Amorim says this is the perfect player for my system, you can't say, at the end of the day, Ruben, we don't buy players like that anymore. You've got to go and get them, haven't you? We need to restart the Rubbernicking gang. I need to retell the story of the Rubbernicking gang because it's a very cult number of people who know the story of it. Dennis, we've spoken about. I think Amorim will be happy to hear that news, says J-Lo. What? Sesko odds, done that one as well. I just want to say people are complaining about Dennis. Look, at the end of the day, he's worse. Off camera, he's always smacking me about. The return of TUSFC. I am playing FC26 and I am enjoying it. I have the beta, so I'm doing a career mode at the moment. It's not the career mode because the fixtures are last year, the kits are last year, but it is the new game, and I've still got bloody Garnacho and Rashford in the team. So it's more the actual game that you're playing really. So I'm getting used to that. So we're definitely going to do a career mode, and the most important thing is to turn sacking off because that was the problem with last year's. But yeah, no, I don't want to deviate from what I wanted to say. I do want to say that I don't know what's happened over the last sort of 4 weeks, and it certainly started on the 8 o'clock show. So people who watch the 8 o'clock show UK time, I'm talking about you. Something changed about 4 weeks ago. I don't know what it was. I mean, I think I did. I think the community did. I think something changed, and we have become it's just because, look, I always loved the United Stand. I've been doing it for 10 years. Some shows are great, some shows are horrible. But I don't know what it is. Over the last 4 weeks, there's just been a mood change, and it's just been brilliant. I've absolutely loved the last few weeks of doing the shows. And yeah, I think the 8 o'clock shows have been the best of the lot. I don't know what it is. But I can only thank you lot, because I don't do much pre-recorded content because I don't thrive off it. I don't feel anything towards it. Sometimes you have to do it, of course, but I like to do live content. So I always feed off what everybody's on about. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And it's been really enjoyable the last few weeks. And I'm leaving. It's my last show. No, I'm not. I'm really looking forward to a new season, and I hope we all are as well. I just hope this isn't the peak. I hope this isn't the pinnacle, because I think it's been so enjoyable over the last few weeks, and I do worry that when the football starts, that's when the division comes. It might just be because it's the transfer window and it's easier to get on, because ultimately you're not going to fall out about wanting Sesko or not wanting Sesko, but people do fall out when you draw a game and you don't like it, but some of you say it's not that bad. So we've got all that to come, but let's hope we just win a load of games and the good mood stays, because we haven't had a lot of winning over the last 10 years, have we? We haven't had a lot of consistent winning. I mean, bloody United Strand, his hair's going to be in the moon soon. I mean, he's never getting a haircut. 5 wins in a row. Couldn't even do it in pre-season. He would have been thinking, oh my God, we're playing all these shit teams in pre-season. We've got Leeds, Bournemouth, Everton, West Ham, Fiorentina. That's 5. I'm getting a haircut for the summer. There's a heat wave next week. He's going to be going, oh my God, I thought I was getting a haircut on Monday. He's got to win 5. We've got to win 5 games in a row. Let's hope he can do it, and it will all be great for us as well. Agreed, 8 PM vibes have been impeccable up the Chelsea, says George 15. Thank you, pal. Okay, at least we're unbeaten and we've won 3 trophies, exactly. Okay, thanks to everybody for watching. Stay safe, and I will speak to you on the next one. Take care.